Ever wanted a telly but hate that uncomfortable telly body? Do you love Strats but hate the weedy bridge pickup? Well, I have got the guitar for you. My buddy Gareth has been at it again, and this time he's bought something pretty unusual. This is the signature model for Japanese guitarist and member of the band Fujifabric, Souichiro Yamauchi, and hopefully I pronounced that name right. I did look it up, but yeah, hopefully I got it right. Now, I will admit that before Gareth loaned me this guitar, I had never heard of that band or Souichiro himself, but Fender clearly had, and clearly had taken notice, because this is not his first signature model. So this thing is a bizarre mix of Stratocaster and Telecaster custom, and I will admit that when Gareth first sent me the link to the eBay auction he was looking at, my first reaction wasn't exactly positive. It's got much more in common with a Telecaster than you might first think looking at the Strat body. Yes, it is a combination of both, of course, but in my opinion, it's much more of a Telecaster with a Strat body and headstock. Having had this in the house for a week or so now, doing a restring and setup, I must admit that I've really come around to it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not rushing out to buy one. I'd much rather get an actual Telecaster custom than this, but it's really grown on me. I've had quite a few Japanese built Fenders over the years and have always been extremely well built, and this is no exception. Like I said, it is much more of a Tele custom in Strat clothing, and the pickups and bridge of course are going to have a big influence on that. So we've got a Telecaster custom pickup layout, which means we've got a wide range humbucker in the neck and a single coil in the bridge, and that wide range humbucker is one of the CuNiFe models that Fender released a couple of years ago. That CuNiFe model is a reissue of the original wide range humbucker, which had been long out of production in the Fender range. So previously, before they released those, whenever you had a wide range humbucker in their guitars, it was actually not quite the same as the original wide range humbuckers from the 70s. But yeah, good to see them back and good to see it in this guitar. I absolutely love this pickup. It's just the perfect mix of kind of fatness and high end without being really too high output. It just sounds amazing. Yeah, the output's around 10k from what I've read on these CuNiFe pickups, and it just results in a really well balanced sound. It's got more warmth than a single coil, but still retains that kind of clarity in the top end, and it never gets muddy. traditional style bridge houses 3 non-compensated brass saddles, as well as a vintage voiced single coil pickup, which delivers the kind of telly twang you would expect. The wiring is basically just Telecaster wiring, but with one small twist. So you've got a 3-way switch for neck, middle and bridge, and then a single volume and tone. And then this second tone is actually a direct switch. Now typically a direct switch is used on a bridge pickup, and it sends the bridge pickup directly to the output jack, bypassing your volume and tone controls. But on this guitar, it's actually for the humbucker. Now I think that's quite cool, it's quite unusual, and it's actually a preference for me. I'd much rather have a switch to quickly get to the neck pickup no matter what my controls are set at, because I'm a neck pickup guy. It's a chambered ash body finished in white satin poly, again pretty unusual, and I think they've missed an opportunity here to include an F-hole. The neck is maple with a rosewood fretboard, 7.25 inch radius, vintage style frets, and we have a Fujifabric branded neck plate. And here's where those telly specs come to the forefront again. It's got a substantial U-shaped neck, again finished in satin poly. That neck profile is never uncomfortable, it's definitely chunkier than my other guitars, but I actually quite like the way it feels, and it's based on his original 1954 Telecaster. The Strat headstock houses vintage style, kind of Clouson style, split post tuners. They're my favourite kind of tuners. I love it when Fender let their artists do something a little bit different and break out of the mold from the kind of regular, just artist spec versions of a Telecaster or a Stratocaster. You know, this is obviously still a Strat body and it's still Tele hardware, but combining the two has made it a little bit more unique. It reminds me a lot of the parallel universe and alternate reality guitars that Fender did a couple of years back. That experimental side of Fender, at least in the US and in Europe, seems to have been mostly relegated to the Squier Paranormal series now. But it's great to see that Fender Japan are willing to step out of the norm a little bit with something like this. Like I said before, I'm not about to run out and buy one of these, but I have been really taken aback by how much it's grown on me. It's a pleasure to play and it sounds killer. That CuNiFe pickup, I've just fallen in love with it. I'm seriously considering going out and getting some sort of Tele custom and upgrading it with one of those pickups. The only real downside of this guitar is that it does appear to be a Fender Japan exclusive. I wish they would release more of these guitars over here. It's so frustrating. They seem to do the coolest stuff out of Fender Japan. So yeah, unfortunately that means you're not going to be able to walk into a shop and try one of these. You're essentially buying sight unseen from somebody else on eBay or Reverb or wherever you get your imported guitars from, and taking a bit of a risk. So Gareth paid £1,340 for this, shipped to his house. It was already in the UK and it was sold by an eBay seller that appears to import Japanese guitars on the regular. It's quite a lot of money for a Japanese guitar, but I guess if you compare it to the signature models that are coming out of the Mexico factory these days, That's not too bad. Technically this isn't brand new because, you know, it's been bought by somebody else and then sold on, but the guitar was unplayed essentially. It did also include a hard case, which I don't think it includes from the factory, so that was an added benefit. I think all in all, he paid a reasonable price. I wouldn't be too unhappy with it myself. And of course, by buying it on eBay that way, he's avoided all of the fuss of trying to import this himself from Japan. It can be a real nightmare if you've got any problems when the guitar arrives. It's just a much easier way to do it. But you probably do pay a little bit more than you would if you imported it directly yourself. So I really want to know what you think about this guitar, so do let me know in the comments. It's really grown on me, but I do think it's a bit of a Marmite guitar. You're either going to love the look or hate the look. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this really quite weird guitar with me. Thanks again, Gareth, for loaning it to me. I think you've got a great guitar here and you're going to love it for many years to come. If you enjoyed the video, then do consider sticking a like on it. It really does help me out. And if you really liked it, maybe subscribe below. That would be great. If you're into cool Fender signature models, then check out my video on another one of Gareth's guitars, his Fender Billy Corgan signature model. You can check that out over here. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.